handoff to Jonathan Taylor. Huge hole. He's at the 30. He's going to go. 10, 5, touchdown. Jonathan Taylor made a man miss the line of scrimmage and then runs it into Pater. And a one-handed INT. Are you kidding me? Kenny Moore.
What a play by Nyheim Hines.
Horseshoe is back, baby. The horseshoe is back.
What's going on, Colts Nation and 49ers Nation? Welcome back to another Bring the Juice Colts podcast live stream, coming to you live for the pregame analysis of the Indianapolis Colts traveling to San Francisco to take on the 49ers. I'm Derek Larger, along with my friend Matt from Inside the Horseshoe podcast. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. It's been a good sports weekend. My Notre Dame Fighting Irish got the win on Saturday. My Chicago Bulls are 3-0. I mean, it's been a great time. Let's cap it off with the Colts win.
Oh, I imagine. This week so far has been good for me as well. My old high school won their first MVL title in 50 years.
Oh, nice.
Destroyed the matchup that they were playing in order to get that win and that title, 38-0. Those boys were awesome. Saturday, my Buckeyes absolutely destroyed IU. I'm sorry for any IU fans that are in here. I'm not sorry, actually, because you all talked a lot of crap about me and my Buckeyes early on, and I just felt like it was right to remind you of where your place is. But anyway, thank you all again so much. I'm joking with all y'all, but anyways, thank you guys for tuning into this. It's going to be a weird day for sure, but first thing we want to do, talk about the inactives, and we'll go to the Indianapolis Colts side here first. So Sam Ehlinger, inactive. Guard tackle Will Fries, inactive. Wide receiver T.Y. Hilton, inactive. Was already talked about being out for a while. Kamoko Toure, defensive end, out as well. Tackle Braden Smith, again, while he returned to practice Friday, was not ready to play this week. Jordan Wilkins, running back, again with the non-football illness thing. It's very weird. I am not sure exactly what it is that's got him out. I don't know if it's actually a legit illness problem or if it's might be something else. Nobody's really clarified on that. But if anyone else has any information on that, feel free to tell me. And also cornerback Rock Yassin, also not playing in this game. So a couple tough losses here, Matt, for the Indianapolis Colts.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously not having Rock Yassin there, especially going up against a guy like Deebo Samuel, that's going to stink, especially since Rock's been the best of our secondary this year, I think. And then with T.Y. Hilton, we had him back for the one game. He looked explosive. He looked great. I loved what I saw from him. And then unfortunately had that quad injury.
And he said he was going to be fine, too, so I never thought he would not make it for this next game, but sure enough, yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was going to play this weekend, too, and then, unfortunately, he's not, but he should be back next week, I would assume. If it was bad, I'm sure they would have said something, but, there's players where they're like, hey, we're optimistic that they'll be fine and they'll be back, and, you can
never be optimistic about a Colts player on there ever. You never can. Unless it's Quentin Nelson, there's nobody else you can be optimistic about. Yeah. You and I were kind of talking about it from earlier before we went into the broadcast. Braden Smith returned to practice on Friday, but still not playing, has not played since the second quarter of the first game this year. We're about to go into week 7 and is still not ready to play yet. You and I said it that if he doesn't start playing here soon, then we're really going to start having some questions here on what's going on here.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on with him, because you would think if it was anything serious that would have knocked him out 5 weeks, they would have known after week 1 or week 2 of the injury.
Yeah, you're right.
It normally doesn't take this long for us to figure out how long somebody is going to be out. I mean, I don't know. It aggravates me, makes me upset. And then apparently his thumb, how bad's his thumb if that's still on the injury report?
Yeah, right. We've not heard anything about that, but Either way, that's the inactives for the Indianapolis Colts. Now let's go into the inactives for the 49ers. So quarterback Trey Lance, he was also out, but we knew early in the week that Jimmy Garoppolo was most likely going to be the guy. Jimmy G, while not 100%, is very close. Wouldn't expect him to really – it's not like I would expect him to be very mobile today either. It's not like that's really going to be much of the game. Wide receiver Travis Benjamin, also inactive. Embry Thomas, who is a backup corner for the 49ers, also out today. Demador Lenior, a defensive back who is a starter, also is out. Trent Williams, who is the big one on the offensive line, was doubtful for the majority of the week, and he is officially inactive for this game. And then Javon Kinlaw, main defensive tackle for the 49ers, also out, and Maurice Hurst, a backup defensive tackle, is also out. So what do you think of this 49ers inactive report?
I mean, obviously Trent Williams being out, that's big. That's going to be really, really big. Our defensive line hopefully should have an easier job getting Jimmy Garoppolo than it would have if Trent Williams was there, because Trent Williams was awesome. He's still awesome. So that's really big not to have him in there. I feel like I may be in the minority. I actually would have preferred to have Trey Lance play in tonight's game, because I don't think he's ready.
Yeah,
for the NFL
exactly.
yet.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, sure, Trey Lance has that mobility aspect to his game, but especially for a game like today when it's going to be rainy and it's going to be all messy, it's not like it's going to be something that he's just going to run past everybody. And you're right. He's a inexperienced quarterback. I would always rather have the inexperienced quarterback go up against my team than the more experienced one.
Yeah, I mean, we saw what happened today in the Tampa Bay-Chicago game where Justin Fields, they were just getting all over him and making him make mistakes because he doesn't have a whole lot of experience and he's going up against a really good defense. And while, Tampa Bay's defensive line is better than ours, I think having Trey Lance in the game, I feel better about it because I'm sure we could force mistakes on him. But, Jimmy Garoppolo, like I said, he's not too mobile. He's not 100%. With the weather being like it is, I don't think he's going to be much better for us as far as who gives us the better chance to win than, having Trey Lance in there. But still, I mean, just with that inexperienced rookie, the weather, all that stuff, Trey Lance was the guy I would have preferred to have in there. But as far as everybody else, it's like, I'm, Ken Law not being in there, decent. He's not like their best defensive lineman. He's not Nick Bosa or anybody like that. But still, I mean, that should help us out a little more, especially in the run game. Yeah,
absolutely. Like I said, a couple defensive players out for them. Same thing with our secondary. And, Trent Williams is the big one, right? I mean, that one being out is a big, big blow to their offensive line. Obviously, one of the best left tackles in the game. And so a couple other things on the Colts side of injury reports. Obviously, with T.Y. Hilton being out and Paris Campbell being out for an extended period of time, Colts had to bring a couple guys up. Michael Strawn was brought up, and Kiki Kuti has also been brought up to the active squad for the Indianapolis Colts. So do you expect anybody else to who do you expect to possibly get some time today?
I think out of those two, I would go with Strawn. I think Strawn's going to have the biggest, or I guess the most playing time when compared to some of the other guys that normally wouldn't play. And honestly, for Strawn, this is probably the biggest game of his career, his young career. I know he's played not even a full year, but still, this could be huge for his career because if he goes out there tonight and dominates, that could definitely open up more time for him to play. And, it's going to be nice to see Kiki Kuti go out there and play, but yeah, I mean, this is a big game for Michael Strawn, and, I expect him to do some good stuff tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess the only other thing we need to talk about is the weather report. We haven't really talked about much of a weather report as of the last 6 weeks because really there's not been a lot to talk about when it comes to the weather, but It's time we talk about it because today is going to be a rough one. For anyone that doesn't know what the weather's going to be like for the Indianapolis Colts game today, it is going to be mayhem. Tonight's temperature is around 52 degrees, so it's not too bad for a cold one. Although the rain and wind is going to be a major factor in this game. Flooding rains in San Francisco. They said this is some of the most rain that they've seen in a while. They said that rainfalls around tonight may even reach up to an inch in some areas. And if anyone doesn't know how much an inch of rain is, that's a lot of freaking rain. Okay, so we won't get an inch of rain during the game, but there's quite a possibility that we could get upwards to maybe half an inch. So there's going to be heavy downpours and with winds up to 15 to 25 miles an hour with gusts of wind over 30 miles an hour at times. So, Matt, I mean, this is going to be a wild game where, you know, there's really not going to be a lot of throwing down the field, and there's certainly not going to be a lot of field goals.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be sunshine and rainbows. It's going to be pretty nasty. Some people were describing it as like a monsoon, which I don't necessarily think it's going to be like that. But no, I know we disagree on how we feel about the weather impacting the game. I love games like this. If it starts raining, like it's, you know, what we thought it was going to, because somebody in the comments did say that it you know, did stop raining, but it could start again. If it rains crazy and the wind's blowing, I love it. I love these crazy weather games. There's the Colts Bills game from a few years back, I should say. That was in all that snow. It was like crazy amount of snow. I just love it. But you know, I still expect a good amount of passing. I think it's gonna be run heavy on both sides for sure. But I think, you know, like Carson will throw some of those shorter passes. That's probably what they'll do more than the deep throws. Maybe some like check downs, do a couple like 5-yard passes, something like that. But no, I love this. I'm so excited. I hope it rains like crazy. Bring it on. Yeah,
it's definitely got a lot of people going crazy. And, you know, I was talking about it on Twitter, and I was like, look, I'm not saying that I think that we should cancel this game because of the fact that, or postpone it because I don't think they can handle it. I never once said that, but people were trying to make it out to seem that way. The only reason I'm wanting it to be postponed is because of the fact when there's 40-mile-an-hour winds and it's downpouring the way it is, just a lot of times it's just not very fun. Okay, I get it that sometimes there are some rain and, you know, snow games that, you know, you just have those, and it's not the worst thing in the world. Everybody has to deal with those sometimes. I just always hate that the wind is just going to probably make this game not as fun to watch. There's certainly some differing opinions on that, whatever you want to say. But either way, sounds like we're going to have this game unless there's a thunderstorm that goes through. They did say there is a possibility for one. Doubt it, but they said there is the possibility for it.
Right.
Either way, it seems like the Colts and the 49ers are going to have this game, and it's just going to be one of those where you just have to suck it up and you got to do what you got to do. But let's go ahead and hop into the game plan here. What is the offense got to do here, Matt? You kind of mentioned it a little bit. I mean, obviously, for both offenses today, the run game is going to be a major factor in how you approach this game. But what else needs to happen here?
So besides the run game, I think what we need to do is not, you know, take risks. I think play it as safe as possible, because you never know with the weather, if it's going to be horrible, if the wind's going to be blowing like crazy and all that stuff, you want to, you know, play it safe. Don't risk it. Don't do anything crazy. I know Frank Reich likes to be aggressive. This might be the game, at least in the passing game, where you don't want to be as aggressive unless like the weather calms down and it's not as bad. But just, you know, play it safe, do some short passes, don't do anything too crazy. Maybe take a shot or two down the field every once in a while, but don't do it much like you would in any other game. Just play it safe, run the ball, make sure you're doing it well, and then, big win for them.
Look at him. Chief meteorologist Derek Larger raging on Twitter about tonight's weather in the Bay Area. Get a DUI and you'll be one step closer to Jamie Simpson. Shut up, Ray. Oh, man.
No,
he's trolling me just because he knows what his Bengals did today.
Right. Yeah, they look good. They look really good.
Oh, they're really freaking good, man. I think we need to be concerned about the Bengals now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Did Lamar
man.
get hurt in that game, or was he just taken out?
Oh, you talking about Lamar? Oh,
Yeah.
Lamar wasn't hurt. No,
Okay.
he just didn't play very well today.
Okay.
So.
I was say because I did fall asleep because the Titans game bored me to death.
And the Ravens defense apparently forgot how to play defense.
Right.
So.
Yeah, 42 points will do that for you. But no, I just woke up. It happened to be on the Bengals game, and I saw Lamar wasn't in there. I didn't see anything online, so it's just like, well, did he get benched? Okay.
That answer your question.
There you go.
Lamar got benched.
There you go.
Probably because they knew the game was over. That's why.
Yeah.
You don't want to.
Yeah, I don't want to risk it.
It says, according to my weather app, says the winds in San Fran are going to be about 12 miles per hour. Is that wrong? Well, the fact that San Francisco is so large, certain areas of that area is going to be affected one way versus another, right? So, it might be 12 miles per hour in some areas. Some areas it's going to be 20, and how it differs. It's not going to be the same all throughout, but doing that along with all this rain is just not a great combination for throwing the football. So
True.
We'll see how it is. Maybe it does die down. I mean, some people were saying that originally that, it will die down. Other people are saying that, it's not going to die down. It's actually going to get worse. But it's one of those, but that it's whatever, so we'll see how that goes, but
True.
Oh, man. But yeah, for a team that, like you said, is trying to keep the turnovers down, it's not much of a problem for the Indianapolis Colts offense. One of the least amount of turnovers by an offensive squad in the entire NFL right now. Carson Wentz still with only one interception on the year. And I think there might have been only one fumble by this squad the rest of the way going forward. So, so far, taking care of the football has not been an issue for the Colts offense. You certainly hope it would stay that way because, like you said, for the turnover battle, that's going to be the big issue. And, when it comes to that, who wins that turnover battle? Right now, San Francisco is actually -5 when it comes to the turnover battle. They're 29th in the NFL at that turnover battle, while the Colts are tied for third with a plus, I think it's +7. So, very impressive there for the Colts. So, yeah, who does win the turnover battle tonight, Matt?
I'm going to go with Indy. I feel like Carson Wentz just protects the ball so well. I have more faith in him than a not 100% Jimmy Garoppolo. I trust that Frank Reich in this game is not going to put him in a situation where Carson is going to, have to throw it 50 yards down the field a lot. I think he's going to play it safe in this game. I think that the 49ers might actually try to take some chances, especially with Deebo Samuel out there, who I believe leads the league in yards after the catch too.
Yeah, he is. He's either first or he's second, one or the other. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But yeah, like you said, I think the Colts win it because, that's while they have been aggressive at times, the Colts have done a really good job of not turning the ball over, and I think it'll stay true. Over under on Wentz throwing 24 passes tonight.
I'm gonna go under. I don't think it's gonna be by much because I think there's gonna be a lot of shorter throws. I think it could be similar to last week where Carson only threw 20 times against Houston?
20 times,
and then they just ran the ball the rest of the time. So I'll go under on this one. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was slightly over.
Yeah, honestly, I'm going to go over on this because while I agree with you that, last time it was only 20 passes, the yards per throw on Wentz's throws in that game were much, much higher than what they probably will be in this game. I don't anticipate Wentz having 4 or 5 throws in this game where it's going to be over 30 yards. Right. I mean, they had one to Mo Alley Cox, a couple to T.Y., a couple to Paris, a couple to Michael Pittman. So I don't expect him to do that same thing. I expect it to be anywhere from 25 to 28 passes. So not a whole lot, but I expect it to be slightly over because of the fact that you're going to be passing within that 10-yard range all game long based off the wins. So that's what I would say. All right. So I now have trivia for everybody. So if everybody wants to go ahead and get your thinking caps on here, because I got a couple trivia questions here for you. So let's play the first one.
All righty.
The last time the Colts played in a crazy weather game, it was nicknamed the Snow Bowl.
Yeah.
Who was it against, and what was the final score? So I want everybody to answer those two questions. I'll give everybody a chance to check that out. Also, we have 87 of you watching right now and only 26 likes. Can we get to 50 likes? Helps it get out to more people. All right, I'm going to close that one down. But, yeah, so you and I were kind of talking about this a little bit, Matt, before that. It seems like a couple of people are getting answers in, but not a lot of them know the score. Do you remember who it was against that we played in that game?
It was against the Bills.
Okay.
I remember because this was the year that Jacoby Brissett started when he first got to Indy.
Yes, and LaShawn McCoy was playing in that game. So, yes, it was the Bills. Do you remember what the final score was?
I don't remember exactly. But I'll go something like, I'll say 16-10. Buffalo won.
Okay. Well, you were correct in the fact that Buffalo did win. It was in 2017. That was the year that Jacoby Brissett did play in the Snow Bowl. And it was a final score of 13-7 Bills in overtime, where LaShawn McCoy scored the second touchdown of the game. Yes, that was the game when Buffalo had those 1 to 2 inches of snow on the field. That was one of those games where, everybody kind of just remembers it because, it was one of those things where you just don't see that very often. So that was pretty cool. I don't know if I actually watched that game through and through, to be honest.
I did. I was at a family Christmas get-together, and I watched it on my phone. And I think Vinatieri might have missed a field goal because of how crazy the weather was in that game. It might have been like extra point length.
Okay. All right. Well, I got one more trivia question here. And here's this one. The Colts have only played the 49ers 6 times since 1998. What is their record? Is it A, 2-4, B, 1-5, or C, 4-2? So everybody go ahead and give me your answers there on what you think the Colts record has been against the 49ers since 1998. Do you happen to know what the score was the last time that the Colts played the 49ers?
I can't even remember when they played the 49ers last.
It was 2017. 2017.
Okay, so it's a little bit ago. Yeah, I don't remember the score in that one. It probably – I can't remember if that was the year the 49ers were still good or if they were terrible. But I'm pretty sure the 49ers won that game.
You're talking about the last one?
I'm pretty sure in 2017. Unless that was like one of the few the Colts won.
You are wrong. They actually the 49ers lost in overtime to the Colts in 2017.
So it was one of the –
So I see some A, C's. I even see a D in here, none of the above, which is not true.
I'll go C, though. I'll
go C, 4-2?
Yeah.
All right, and you are correct once again. The Colts have won 4 of the last 6 times they've played. They've actually won their last 4 matchups against San Francisco.
Oh, nice.
Colts actually lead the series 26-19 all time over the 49ers.
So that means that Peyton Manning's better than Joe Montana. Because of that stat. Because of that stat.
Not true, actually. That's actually not true. Believe it or not, the Colts in the Manning days really didn't beat them that much. I mean, in 98 they lost. In 2001 they lost. In 2005 and in 2009 they won. So 2-2 at all time versus versus them. So,
Okay.
Manning never had the greatest of records when playing the 49ers anyway.
Oh.
So, all right, let's go ahead and hop into the next thing, and we'll talk about the defense for the Colts. Who on the 49ers offense scares you the most tonight?
Deebo Samuel.
Deebo Samuel?
Like I said, I don't think the 49ers are going to pass the ball a whole lot. I think they're going to try to run the ball. I feel like we're going to be more successful stopping it. But with Deebo Samuel, he's that type of receiver that can just burn you after catching the ball. Like I said earlier, he leads the league in yards after catch. I think he's he's fifth in the NFL in just total yards. So very good receiver, very underrated receiver. But yeah, like I'm not that worried about Jimmy Garoppolo today, especially with him not being fully healthy, with him still dealing with an injury, I would assume. Because I'm sure the only reason why he's starting is because they don't want to go with Nate Sudfeld as the potential starter. So that's probably why. But their run game is probably gonna be pretty decent, but I'm gonna go Deebo. I think Deebo has the best chance to have big plays.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as you because, this rushing attack for the 49ers, I'm not insanely worried about it right now. The Colts defense has gotten a lot better over the last few weeks at helping to stop the run.
Yeah.
And even against the Ravens, still was able to pretty much shut down the Ravens rushing attack for the most part. And with the rain and the wind the way it is, it's going to be one of those things where there aren't going to be a lot of shots down the field. And that's exactly what you want, is you want that offense to play in front. And that is exactly what the Colts will be able to do against this team tonight. So certainly hope that that's what it is. And Deebo Samuel, like you said, one of the best receivers at yards after the catch. If they can get the ball in his hands and get him on some kind of running speed, then, it could be a long day for the Indianapolis Colts. Certainly hope that they have a game plan involved for that.
True.
Yeah, everybody's kind of been talking about this and how this game breaks down. And with the way this game is supposed to go, with how the weather is and how both teams are probably going to play this out, do you still believe that the Colts have the favor in this playing so close, or do you think that it actually gives an advantage for the 49ers?
I still think this works in favor of the Colts. I think the Colts are a better run team than the 49ers. Like we were talking before the stream started, the 49ers have their third string running back in as the starter. So
one of them, yeah.
It's one of them for sure. So their run game is not as effective as it could be. It's still good for sure. But I do think Trent Williams being out is going to play a pretty big factor in their run game. I think with DeForest Buckner returning home, he's going to cause a lot of havoc. So I do feel like it's going to, because I feel like Taylor's one of those backs that as the game keeps going, he gets better. So I think he's going to take advantage of that.
Yeah, especially with Big Q being back.
Yes.
That's going to help along the offensive line. Matt Reed will have a few snaps or Chris Reed, I'm sorry, will have a few snaps at right guard in replacement of Glowinski. So we'll see how that plays into effect. But yeah, with the way that the Colts want to run this, I think that it still does play into effect to how we want this to go, because with the amount of secondary players that we're missing in this game, it's the same way with the 49ers at this point. So, the better tackling team is going to be the one that wins it. And the Colts have done pretty good about being better at tackling. So
yeah,
we'll just have to see how it is, man. This is going to be a really wild game. Who steps up on the defense today?
I'm trying to think of guys who haven't really stepped up yet. I think this is the game where Kwity Paye proves that he is worth that first round pick. There's a lot of people, and I don't agree with them, that are calling him a bust. I think that's just, it's kind of dumb to say at this point. He hasn't played all year. It's only been a few games for him. So I think he needs to step up, and I think he will. And then I think Okariki's going to have a good game too. And then as far as everybody that's been doing what they've been doing, I think, Buckner's going to have a big game today. And then I think Leonard's going to continue doing what he's been doing.
Well, I mean, it is the return game for DeForest Buckner. So, maybe this game becomes a little bit more personal for him. Maybe he becomes that disruptor on the inside and reminds the San Francisco 49ers of what they were missing. Maybe he gets that chance tonight. So I certainly hope so. Fantasy options for today. Who do you think might potentially have this game work in their favor?
On the Colts side of things, I'll go Taylor. I feel like he'll have a good game fantasy-wise. I think Michael Pittman is also going to have a good fantasy game. And I'm saying that because I do have him on one of my fantasy teams. And it's basically come down to who has the better game between him and Deebo Samuel. So I'll go Michael Pittman. I think with T.Y. being out and Paris Campbell being out, he's going to have to step up. And I think he'll have a pretty big game today, even with the weather being the way it is.
I think Jonathan Taylor definitely could have a decent game. I think Nyheim Hines is another name to look out for.
Oh, yeah.
I know he really hasn't been utilized a lot in the offense the last couple weeks, but with the way this game is, if you want to be able to utilize the pass but also not have to go deep, Hines is exactly the kind of player you want. Get him out in that open space, still allow him to use those feet, even if the fact that even with the conditions of the field, Hines still being out in open field will just absolutely torment every defender that gets near him. It's exactly what you want. And I would say Jack Doyle might see a couple catches today. If you're playing in a PPR league, Doyle might be one that you could point to. If you're in a deep league, Doyle might see 5-6 catches today because of, the fact that it's going to be a lot of that close stuff. And Doyle is pretty reliable within those ranges. So
True.
That wouldn't surprise me. Anyone on the 49ers you would take a chance on?
Deebo Samuel is definitely the one. I would say him, and then maybe one of their backs. It's like Sermon or who's the other guy? Their other back.
There's Elijah Mitchell, who's the running backs with Sermon in them.
Say maybe him, but if I had to choose, it would definitely be Deebo Samuel on that defensive or on the offense.
Yeah, I feel the same way. All right, let's talk about some games around the league here. Might as well, since all the rest of the games have been done. Browns avoid the comeback on the Broncos from Thursday Night Football. And, who was it? Johnson, who in 2018 was basically DMing coaches and assistants to ask for a tryout to be on a team. And in his first start ever, has one of the best performances of the season for any running back, taking over the spot of Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. That was a pretty impressive performance, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I remember there was the AAF or whatever. When that was around, he was trying to get in there, and he was trying to get, basically on any team in any league. And then finally he gets his opportunity and he goes out there and just dominates. It's pretty cool to see. For sure.
And so we get to the 1:00 games today. First big one, Titans absolutely obliterate the Chiefs today. Patrick Mahomes again struggling in that defense, just not able to slow anyone down right now. Chiefs look. Would you say this was more of a statement win for the Titans, or just showing how bad the Chiefs have really become so far?
I think it shows how bad the defense or the Chiefs are, because I think the Titans, they had their statement win against the Bills with that impressive win. But with the Chiefs, I mean, I'm telling you right now, if Patrick Mahomes was not the quarterback on the Chiefs, there's a good chance they'd be 1-5 or 0-6. Like, that team is terrible. It's absolutely terrible. The defense is so bad. The offense really can't get anything going. It's like other defenses have learned, hey, don't leave, the receiver you're guarding, because Patrick Mahomes, what he will do is he'll run around and he'll just throw it up in the air and somebody will be open. Stay on the guy, and then if he tries to do that, you're either going to get an incompletion or you're going to force a turnover. So, I just think this continues to expose the Kansas City Chiefs and just how they're not what we thought they were.
Well, yeah, I definitely think it is now too. I mean, I just don't. I don't understand how. I don't understand how the defense only scored 3 points. How let the Chiefs only score 3 points?
I know, that's crazy.
I mean, that is bad. Like, Patrick Mahomes has been bad this year. Like, there's no way around it. He may be one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but this year he has been garbage. I don't care what anyone says. Patrick Mahomes has been garbage this year. He has not been helping this team win. He has not been helping this team do anything to get this thing turned around. And yes, the defense has been really, really bad, but Patrick Mahomes has not been doing much better for it either.
And it's like the Colts with Carson Wentz, who has like no ankles, when they went up against the Titans, did better than the Chiefs did.
Carson did better
with no ankles.
Think about that. Yeah, think about that.
It's like,
it's hilarious. But anyway, the Packers beat Washington 24-10. Yeah. Bengals absolutely destroying the Ravens today, 41-17. Is it time we start taking the Bengals seriously as legit contenders?
Yeah, I think it is now. I'll admit, the first little bit of the year, I wasn't sure what to expect from the Bengals because, they came in week 1, played really good football, and then they played against the Bears and just got smacked. So I wasn't sure what to expect with them, but I think after taking the Packers down to the wire, going to overtime, and even taking that down to the wire, and then now just beating who we all thought was probably the best team in AFC, the Ravens, the way they did. Yeah, I think it's time. We got to take them serious.
Yeah, I mean, what they've been doing, Joe Burrow, their team is still not great defensively. No. But Joe Burrow just gives you an element to be able to do anything offensively. Yeah. And Jamar Chase, I mean, I think it's I will say it out loud right here because I've said it on Twitter over the last few weeks, and I have said it quietly over span, but I'll say it right here, right now. Yeah. I was dead wrong on the Bengals saying they should have selected Chase over Sewell. I was a big fan of Sewell. I thought they should have drafted him. I was wrong. Drafting Jamar Chase has given this offense a whole nother level that offenses just can't catch up, or defenses just can't catch up to right now. True. So they have been really good. He's been really good.
Yeah.
Giants win against the Panthers 25-3. Sam Darnold was actually benched in this game, but was still named the starting quarterback even after everything that happened today. Falcons almost blew the game against the Dolphins. We're blowing them out in the fourth quarter, but let the Dolphins come all the way back to take the lead, but got the game-winning field goal to win it all. Patriots just absolutely destroyed the Jets 54-13. Again, Zach Wilson was out for the majority of that game due to an injury. And the Raiders defeated the Eagles 33-22. The Rams came back against the Lions, went down 10-0 in the first quarter, and went on a 28-9 run in the remaining 3 quarters to win the game. Buccaneers destroy the Bears 38-3. Cardinals destroyed the Texans 31-5. So how much did the Colts beat the Texans by again? Was it 28 or 31?
We beat them by, I think it was 31 to maybe 6.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it was pretty close, but I was very close on that. So that was the final games here. Let's go ahead and let's talk about final score prediction. Oh. What is your score prediction for today?
So it was actually 31-3. So I just looked it up. But for me, I think this is going to be a run-heavy game. And if the weather does get better as far as like the wind calming down and it not raining as much. I do think that we're going to see more passing in the second half, but I do think this game is going to come down to who is better at running the football, who is more effective with it. And, you know, to me, I think that's the Colts. I think the Colts are going to be more effective. If the weather completely changes and it's super nice out, then it's going to come down to the passing game. And I still have faith in Carson Wentz over Jimmy Garoppolo with everything being considered. So I'll go Colts in this game. Close game, won't be a blowout. I'm thinking 28-24 Colts.
All right. I think the score might be just a little bit lower than that. I think that this is going to be a more heavy run-centric game, and I think both defenses are going to be able to hold their own. I see this as a 21 to 18 win for the Colts. I mean, Colts really need this one to be able to start getting some headway back into the conference right now, being 2-4. If getting this win, going back at home next week to face the Titans, you know, you really need as much momentum as you can get for this game. So, all right, that'll do it for this one, guys. Let us know what you think in the comments, and also be sure to check out our live play-by-play reaction, which will be up here in about half an hour. It'll happen right before the game starts, so make sure you all are there. From Derek Larger, Matt as well with you. Thank you guys again so much for tuning in, and as always, go Colts.